Howdy folks, we're going to talk about CIS 2454 Web Systems Development in PHP and Java or JSP today. So thanks for coming along. I know you know how to read, but I do want to pull out the interesting bits here of the syllabus as we talk about the course and give you a little preview of what's to come for the semester. So again, I'm Eric. Hi, nice to meet you by the way. Hopefully you had a chance to check out my instructor profile there in the course information. And I'm the only Eric Chinesky in the world, so you can Google me pretty easily if you want to learn more about me or my background. I don't really need to go into too much detail here. This is my official college email. If you do email me, if you don't use your student email account, I can't tell you anything about grades. But if you ask me about grades, I'm just going to tell you to go look at Desire to Learn anyway, so it doesn't really matter what email address you use. This is my cell phone. I have an office phone. I'm there actually like twice a week, not all that often, but I haven't really been to the office since I started as a full-time faculty member in fall of 2020, given the craziness of everything going on in the world. So just use my cell phone. It's much easier. In summertime, anytime between like 10 a.m. and midnight or so, that's fine. Call or text. If you call or text outside those hours, I'll just probably ignore you. So that's fine too. I'm working on scheduling my office hours. I'll have a link for you folks a little bit later on. You can click to fill out when is a good time to have office hours for you, and I'll try and pick times that work for the most people there rather than saying, hey, here's 3 hours this day, 3 hours this day, good luck. So I'll work those the best I can into the schedule, and then if they don't work for you, I can also meet you by appointment at other times. Generally later in the evenings after I get my kids in bed. I can meet with folks after 10 p.m. or so. I'm happy to meet with folks. Early in the morning is a little rough. I'm not much of a morning person given that I'm usually up pretty late. But let me know. Send me a couple times and we'll see what we can do and get you a chance to meet and chat and see what I can do. So if you do want to come to campus, it'll be at F105. I'll be there about twice a week or virtually over Discord or Zoom. I have my Zoom information there in the course information as well. If you like Zoom, if not, drop in my Discord server here. Again, a note, Discord is public, so please use whatever handle you want. It doesn't have to have your name in it at all. For the course, just one section here, we meet online asynchronously, so there are no synchronous meetings, no times where we will all get together and chat, so it'll be lots of recordings. The classroom here then is on D2L. Everything will happen on Desire to Learn. In terms of the course, when it comes to code, we'll look at some other stuff there with how you can submit code to me. A quick little copy-paste from the course catalogs. We're looking at web-based application software, specifically server-side software, design and development techniques associated with web development. Job skills will be emphasized. Topics will be covered, blah, 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 blah. Architecture, design patterns, frameworks, PHP basics, Java technologies, database access. Database access is really fun and interesting, but there was not a prerequisite, weirdly enough, for our Intro to Database course. So when it comes to databases, I'll help you get up and running, give you lots of examples that you can use. There won't be a lot of novel things you have to do when it comes to database stuff, but any and all web applications we use nowadays are essentially tied to a database, and we'll get their data out of a database to make them interesting applications. So that's what we'll work with here. We'll talk a little bit about XML and asynchronous JavaScript and XML-based requests, web application security. We have a whole course on security and web administration, so we just kind of touch on some of these topics. We don't get super deep on them. And then guess what? You'll have to do computer-based projects. Who knew? I mean, the inside classes, they're like the example practice labs, and the outside of class are your projects, essentially. So the only prereq we have is a programming class, whether or not that's intro to programming or weirdly somehow our object-oriented programming with Java, which object-oriented programming with Java has a prereq of 1500. So I don't really understand this. Again, I'm still a little bit new here, trying to figure out everything here as we go. But as long as you've taken a programming class, you should be in pretty good shape here. So we'll pick up PHP from scratch, and then when we get to the Java side of things, you should be familiar with Java because you've done Java before, and we'll look at how we do web stuff with it. In terms of some outcomes, so all courses, I believe, map to a general education outcome. OCC has a couple of general education outcomes. We picked critical thinking. You'll be able to apply your knowledge to the assigned task. You get all sorts of tools and techniques and things that you've learned how to do with code, and then you go and apply them to the project that you've been assigned and go and solve those problems. So critical thinking for sure. And then in terms of the common course outcomes, these get assessed every time the class is taught. And we look at how well students are doing. I believe the goal is to have about 80% of students pass these sort of outcomes. It's not 100% because honestly, not everyone's going to do entirely well. That's just sort of how things go, unfortunately. But 80% or more, and it seems like we're in pretty good shape. So we'll talk about web service requests, getting processed, architecture of web applications, yada, yada, yada. We haven't talked about any of the terms, they don't make a whole lot of sense yet. The MVC design pattern, PHP and Java application code, Java servlets, and the MVC design model again, Java web application code that uses expression language, and the JSP standard tag library. My highlighting here is weird, sorry. PHP and Java applications that manage session data, cookies, utilize relational database for basic transactions. Read, update, insert, and delete, or you might have heard of it as CRUD, create, read, update, delete. I'm a fan of CRUD because CRUD is I don't know, CRUD just sounds a little easier to say. And we can send email messages. So I'll tell you how to do it. I won't actually send one because you need to put in a username and a password. You're welcome to generate that username and password yourself here, but I don't want to just give one out and have everyone spam it and then we get in trouble with Google. So I'll show you how. It's really easy. Don't worry too much about it here. And then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about client-side technologies, particularly around AJAX requests, and look at how we would do those, and then also talk about authentication and security. So this one is like a double here. I don't understand. But that's okay. So those are the high-level common course outcomes, things that we'll be able to do by the end of the course. For textbooks, we have two different books. We have a PHP book and MySQL book, and we have a JSP book. So we're going to start with the PHP and MySQL book, and then we'll move over to the JSP book afterwards. So you get them from your favorite retailer, rent them, get the ebook, buy them, however you want to do it is fine. The OCC link is here. I hope that's still the right link. That seems odd. Huh. Okay, I might have the wrong link there. Shoot. That's weird. Okay, I don't know. We will figure that out later then. Sorry about that. And I'll get that updated. And then other things we're going to need to install. I'm going to ask you to create a GitHub account. We'll get into that a little later in another video here. But again, this is public, so use whatever username you want. We'll be using the GitHub desktop client for committing our code in the Git repository and synchronizing with the GitHub repositories I create for you, or actually the Google GitHub Classrooms creates for you. If you like Discord to meet virtually, you can grab Discord for my office hours or post general questions for the class there. I think it's a great tool and helps a little bit with that networking effect as we get more students in Discord. We've got a place where you can share information about careers or internships or great job opportunities. So I recently had a former student who now runs the internship program at her company that she works for in Troy reach out to me and say, hey, would you post this and see if anyone's interested in an internship? So I'm hoping to get that sort of network effect going with the Discord there. When we get to Java and JSP, I like the OpenJDK. I'm not a big fan of the Oracle acquisition of Java and their choice to license it, but okay, that's here or there. So I'll show you how to use the OpenJDK. You can download. We're going to use NetBeans as our main IDE. This will do both PHP and JSP for us here. So NetBeans is pretty handy there. Version 13 is the latest, and it's a little prettier actually than version 12. And I'll show you how to download all these tools in another video as well. And then we're going to use XAMPP, which will install several tools for us here as well. We're going to get Apache, we're going to get MySQL, we're going to get PHP, and I'm trying to remember what these other letters are. We'll figure it out. If you don't want to install all these things, you can also use the virtual desktop here at OCC. You can connect into it. The only thing that's not installed is the GitHub desktop client. You have to go download that every time, but it's not too bad. All the other tools are installed and up and running. You should be in pretty good shape there. In terms of course policies, I am very particular about plagiarism and cheating, and I would hope all of you folks would be as well, because people who cheat their way through school should not get degrees because it devalues the degree for everyone else. So if someone cheats their way through and they get hired, and the hiring organization says, oh, you got a degree from OCC, and then they don't know what they're doing and they have no idea and they suck and they can't actually write any code because they cheated their way through school, they're less likely to hire someone else from OCC because they're going to think we did a terrible job. So cheaters will not pass the class. So if you are engaging in academic dishonesty, you will receive a failing grade for the course and be reported to the dean's office, and then the dean gets to take it from there. I believe the school still has the 3-strike policy. Three strikes and you're out. So we do take this very seriously. That being said, I'm not dumb, and I know there are websites where there's all sorts of code out there like Stack Overflow. That's actually one of the coolest things about software engineering is we have this whole community of people who will just answer questions about what's going wrong with code here and help each other out for not getting paid at all. They just do it out of the goodness of their heart because they like to advance the industry, which is super cool. So I will show you how you can cite a source. Right? Plagiarism is presenting someone else's idea as your own without giving them credit. Right? Just like in English paper, you don't turn in someone else's paper, or you don't take a quote from someone else and put it in your paper without citing your source. So same thing goes. So if you find one little piece of snippet, one algorithm, one little function here, that's perfectly fine. I'll show you how you cite your source. We're good here. What you don't do, and just like you don't do for an English paper, you don't take an entire paper that someone else wrote and put 2 quotes at the beginning and the end around it and say, here's my paper, turn it in. You need to have original work added in with citing other people's work. That's perfectly fine, right? You're going to do your own work, your own original work, and you can cite other sources here, and it's not plagiarism. Okay? The OCC Handbook, this is a copy-paste out of here, should not be very interesting, but it does also mention acquisition or distribution of academic materials. So don't take tests and quizzes and exams and projects and go put them on websites like Chegg.com. Chegg and Course Hero and those other sites are horrible, terrible places. Chegg is getting sued. I'm so happy for them. I hope they go out of business and go bankrupt. They are awful to work with. They say they're super friendly and will help take down stuff, and they make it a big nightmare when I find my course materials on their website to get it taken down. And they make me go to my dean's office and have the dean do a paperwork, which just makes more work for everyone to do to take stuff down, and it's really annoying. So under no circumstances may Chegg.com be used. You cannot post questions there. You cannot cite answers posted there. Any use of Chegg or similar websites, it will be considered academic misconduct. Just stay off of Chegg and we'll be good. Right? It's a terrible site. You should not allow people to pay to cheat through school. I don't understand how they are still in business. But anyway, if you're not sure, ask. Right? It takes, a minute to reach out, send me a message and say, hey, I found this. I'd like to use parts of it here. Help me with that. How do I cite my sources? Happy to help you with that. And then I don't have to do piles and piles and piles of paperwork that show this is what you did, this is where I found it online, they're too similar, have to report it, turn it into the dean's office, and take it up there. I've been teaching for 10 plus years now. 10, actually, yeah, 2012, so 10 years now, and I have yet to have a semester where I've not had to fail someone for academic misconduct, which is really sad, actually, and it frustrates me because then I have to spend time doing paperwork failing people that I could have spent more usefully doing other stuff here, and then I get cranky and irritated, then I complain to my wife about it, and then she gets cranky and irritated because I'm upset about it, and it's just not a good thing. Let's just not do it, please, okay? Right, you're taking the course. You might have to if it's part of your degree program, but hopefully you can actually get something out of it and learn something here. So you'll do some original work, okay? Again, if you're not sure, ask me. Just ask. I'm more than happy to clarify there. I keep looking up. This is my same setup that I use when I broadcast live, and there's chat live, and I'm still getting used to not having chat here. So anyway, the code of conduct, this is a copy-paste. Make sure you keep those corridors quiet here in this online class. Sorry, it's in here. It's just copy-pasted. What most people care about is the grading policy, how you get your score. So I use a weighted system. So each category here, set of items, is worth a set amount towards the final grade. So all of the labs total will make up 10% of your grade. So we'll have a lab assignment every week. Okay, we'll have a project every other week starting next week. For the first 2/3 of class, we'll have about 4 projects or so worth 30% of your overall score in the class. We'll have quizzes every week on the chapters that are covered, worth 10% of your overall score. So your total score in quizzes will make up 10% of your final score in the course. We'll have a single exam, just a midterm exam, and the exams and quizzes and things are all open book, open notes, open internet. They're not time bound aside from the due date. So you'll have from the start of the week to the end of the week to get them in. So it's not like once you click start, you only have 2 hours to turn it in. I think that's dumb. It's rare in the software industry that someone says, you have 2 hours to get this done, now go. There are occasions, if the production system is down and we're losing thousands of dollars a minute because our system's offline, yes, time matters. But most often, can you get the work done correctly? Right? And correctly is the important piece here, right? Not can you get it done fast, but can you get it done right? Because if you're going to pay someone to write software, you want to make sure the software works correctly. And then the final project makes up the vast majority of the score. In fact, you can't pass the class without the final project. That is on purpose. This is the cumulative. We're going to do a large project. And this one optionally can be done in pairs. I would recommend you find a partner to work with. I know it gets a little tricky and funky with everyone's schedules and being asynchronous, but I think you'll have a better experience and you'll end up with a better product working in pairs, but I won't require it. So individually or in pairs, we'll do a final project. That's 40% of your overall score in the course. Okay, and then the grading scale should be a copy-paste. Oh, that came out weird with the page break here. 63 or higher to technically pass. You can pass with a D, but you need a 2.0 GPA or higher to graduate. So you don't want to do that too often. Excuse me. I don't know how we got an extra line in there. That was weird. If you don't turn anything in the first couple weeks, you'll get an N grade. Excuse me. So I'll be reaching out to anybody who this might apply to. Don't worry. For work, nothing is accepted late without prior written approval, because after the due date, I'll post a solution for it. And once that solution is available, I'm not going to take yours because you had one to go and look at and copy off of, essentially. So please plan accordingly. I don't take things late. For student privacy, I won't give out your information to anybody. It's pretty easy here. For the Americans with Disabilities Act, if you require accommodations, please contact the Access Office, have them contact me, and I'm happy to talk with you. I find most accommodations tend to be you need additional time on testing or distraction-free environment, those sorts of things. Generally are a little bit funky here with online, but let me know. Happy to have that conversation with you, see what I can do. But because the quizzes and the exam are not time-bound, aside from they start this week, they end at the end of the week, most people seem to do okay with that. Our Academic Support Center has free is not quite the right word here. It is a no additional charge tutoring. It's paid for by your tuition dollars, tax dollars, and state appropriations, which are also your tax dollars as well as a resident of Michigan. So no additional charge tutoring. And we'll have Mr. Tim, who tutors all CIS courses. He is fantastic. I've worked with him a lot. He's a group tutor leader for some of my courses, sometimes for me, and he's awesome. So you can reach out for scheduled tutoring with him direct through the ASC, and we'll go from there. For D2L technical issues, call them. That's like something's wrong with the website. For anything content related, that's me. Talk to me. Accessibility standards, minimum technical skills. You should be able to navigate the web, use D2L, word processing, presentation creation. You don't actually need to present a presentation. So for the final project, you'll present it to me, but it's not like here's a full formal presentation. You're going to talk me through the code, and you're going to show me that it works. And then file management and attachment is very important here, understanding where files are and how to find them on our computer. That's really big. For accessibility, we got a Microsoft link. The technology appropriate use regulations you agree to when you access college resources say don't do dumb things or illegal things with college resources, or you'll lose access to them. It's really hard to engage in classes if you don't have access to a desire to learn. For netiquette, I'm very informal, but I do seriously care about being kind to others. So any form of hate or abuse will get you quickly reported through our process with public safety and counseling and all sorts of fun paperwork that I have to fill out for that. So please just be kind to each other, and we won't have any issues. You can check out the public safety's website if you want more information about them. And for me, generally I'll have stuff graded within a week of the due date. Now, if you've read some reviews on Rate My Professor, you know that I'm not so good at this. Occasionally I get behind. Often I get behind, I'll be honest. Now, the current plan is to be adopting baby number 7 sometime in July. So I'm going to try extra hard to not get behind for the last couple weeks of the semester when there's a baby in the house, because that will be real rough. So everything within a week of when it's due should be turned back into you with your score on it, so you can see how you did. If you don't, or if I'm running behind, I'll let you know. And then when you contact me, email, phone call, text, find me on Discord, however you want to do that. And within 24 hours or less, I'll be back to you basically all the time. Like any good millennial, I'm addicted to my phone. It's always with me, except when my little guy has it. So if you don't hear back from me, it's possible my little guy was watching YouTube videos and swiped the notification and somehow, I don't know, or even archived the email, and I lost it. So please feel free to reach out again if you haven't heard back from me soon enough, and I probably just lost it in the pile. So you're not bothering me at all. Right, and then in terms of the course, so we're going to start Thursdays at midnight, and each week will end then Wednesdays at 11:59 p.m. The scheduling was a little weird here. Generally, they're Mondays, but the course was originally a Thursday course, and they didn't move it, and then Mondays are bad anyway because we have a bunch of holidays, so we're just going to stick with Thursdays. So apologies if you're in other online classes and that's a weird schedule, but I think you'll be okay and we'll work with it. So today we'll talk about the course and the tools, and we'll get through the PHP appendix, which is installing all the tools for PHP. So we'll install NetBeans and we'll install XAMPP. We'll make sure things are up and running. Then next week we get into chapters 1 and 2. We actually write our own PHP applications, and we'll start Project 0. So Project 0, Project 1, Project 2, and Project 3, you all have 2 weeks to do. Because you have 2 weeks on it, please don't wait until the Wednesday that it's due to start. I've had this happen, and then I have people reach out to me and then panic and freak out, and they're upset with me that I couldn't help them hours before it was due. So please plan ahead. I'm happy to answer questions and get you unstuck and point you in the right direction and help you debug your code if things are going wrong. But you need to ask me more than the day it's due, right? Before, not more, before the day it's due, to make life easier for all of us. So I've got 5 classes going on this semester, so it's going to be kind of a busy summer. So just reach out, let me know. Again, that's what my office hours are for, or you can schedule meetings outside of those hours if they don't work for you, and I can help get you pointed in the right direction. So we'll do a lab every week, a lab assignment every week, just a small practice, and then we'll have the projects every other week that we'll be working on. We'll have 1 midterm exam. So the week of 6:30, I plan to do a review, and then the exam will open. So the exam will be available all week. It will be due on July 7th, so you'll have all week for it. For that week set aside for review and the exam. And then we'll switch over from PHP. We don't pick up all of the chapters. We skip over a couple of them in the middle there. Don't worry too much about it. There's more detail if you want to get into them for your reference. But we'll get through, and then about halfway we jump back into JSP and Java. So hopefully you're familiar with Java because you've taken the prereq course. And then we'll do project 3 will be in Java and JSP. And the final project will be your option of PHP or JSP. Whichever you prefer, you can tackle this final project with. And then we'll have the last month here then to work on that final project. Okay, so we'll have the week of 8/18, I'll have you schedule presentation sessions with me. Now, I'm hoping we can get a couple blocks of time, and then a couple groups or individuals can present all together so you can see what other people did. Because that's really the most interesting part here, is seeing how other people put stuff together. Because there's, as you know, so many different ways you can solve programming problems with code. Not everyone's going to do it the exact same way. So it's really interesting and cool to see how other people approach these problems. So I'm hoping to have a couple of sessions scheduled that people can join in throughout the week. And then, if those don't work for you, I'll meet you at some point during that week. We'll meet with you for sure. And we'll be in pretty good shape. Okay? So actually, we don't have the full week of 8/18 because oh, no, I think we do, because classes end the 23rd? No, 24th? Let me look. Oakland CC academic calendar. Here we go. Let's see. I think they end on a Wednesday, so I think we do have the whole week, right? Instruction ends August 24th. Yeah, so that'll be good. So we'll have time there to get that in that last week, sometime during that week to present it here. Okay, so first half is PHP, then we switch over to JSP. It's a little bit funky, but you can do the same thing with either language, which is pretty cool. It's cool to see. PHP is still wildly popular. It's not like the newest, coolest thing out there, but still wildly popular in the web. And then JSP is great. A lot of enterprise applications use this for backends, server-side sorts of things. So a lot of cool opportunities for using these. And then just to note, this is subject to revision. If I need to revise it, I will let you know. All right, folks, that's the course overview. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. And there will be a syllabus quiz for you folks to take. Answers a couple questions, sets out some times of having you tell me when you're going to be working on the course. Given this is a 4-credit class, we expect to have about 4 hours worth of, quote, in-class time or online activity time. That'll be the lecture videos, that'll be the lab assignments, and then outside of class, about 8 hours per week, right? 2 hours for every credit. Worth of reading the textbook, doing the studying, working on projects and other assignments, any other prep things that you need to do. So it's about a 12-hour a week commitment for this course. So I'll ask you to tell me when throughout the week you plan to fit those 12 hours in. Okay? And then you'll also agree to the academic integrity policy. So if you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll see you around. Thanks, folks.